In this particular module, or Unit 5, we're going to talk about how to evaluate quality. And more at a very high-level view, we'll get into more detail later on in the course. But we're going to talk about some of the initiatives that were put in place to try to evaluate a company's quality. The first one was probably the awards process. You know, the Malcolm Baldrige Award. There's some other, the Deming Prize, or some other awards. ISO 9000, especially it was a framework to try to evaluate quality of different products, different services. Then along comes Six Sigma, a way to try to measure the amount of defects over a certain amount of opportunities. So we'll take a look at each one of these in a way, and there's some others, to be honest with you.
Baldrige National Quality Award was created in response of the quality crisis in American manufacturing in the 1970s and 1980s. Many of America's competitors had developed quality award systems and prizes, like the Deming Prize in Japan, and their manufacturers were outperforming their American competitors. The Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award was supposed to be the prize that would motivate companies to undertake the Baldrige Challenge. Yet it became apparent that the true payoff comes from the journey. The leaders of virtually every Baldrige Award recipient organization say that very same thing. That is the improvement in performance from undertaking the Baldrige journey. That is the real prize.
So the purpose was to help stimulate American companies to improve, provide recognition to those that improve, establish evaluation criteria standards, provide specific guidance with detailed information. It's interesting to note, though, for those that applied for this was a very expensive undertaking. It cost lots of money to apply for the Baldrige Award. A lot of work and paperwork had to be done. But for the companies that did it, what they expected was they could basically put on their wall or hang a banner outside their office headquarters that they won the award. So what they hoping that would provide them a competitive advantage over their competitors, that they were a higher level of quality. So the criteria for performance was deliver of ever improving value, improvement of company performance, personal and organizational learning. All this had to be documented. There was mounds and mounds of paper put together. So the evaluation process. Application was reviewed by 7 or more people. Percentage from 0 to 100 increments given to each item. Total scores determined. 6 or 7 of the examiners had to visit a company for a week. And all the results are confidential and examiners are held to secrecy. Again, this was a very expensive process for those companies that participated. And it was also a very formal and rigorous process also.
Let's talk about the impacts of winning the Baldrige Award. If you see here on this slide, organizations that have twice won the Baldrige Award, they average a 92.6% increase in median revenue growth. They have a job growth of 2.5%, nearly 20 times greater than matched industries. And they also serve as a model for other organizations. In addition, the Baldrige public-private partnership generates $1 billion each year in economic impact. Specifically, at Lockheed Martin, their Missiles and Fire Control Division realized a cost savings of $225 million annually after doing their Baldrige assessment. And this was done in 2012. So the journey of doing this award can make a big impact on the performance of your organization.
Other types of awards. The Deming Prize, which was established in 1951, awarded to all companies that meet the standard. The European Excellence Award, established in 1991, three basic recognition levels. And it had a more emphasis on the societal impact of the company. Additional awards, the Canadian Awards for Business Excellence was similar to the Baldrige. Australian Business Awards, developed in 1988, only 2 companies have achieved. There was 4 levels of awards that were given. Quality awards in China. In 2001, the National Quality Award was established. It says cities in China have started to give local quality awards. So in China, quality is a very big issue. So another way to get measured in quality is to be 2000 or ISO 9000 certified. Again, you can hang a big banner outside your building saying that we're ISO 9000 certified. And hopefully that gives you some sort of competitive advantage over your competitors that you produce a product or a service at a higher level of quality, which should increase sales, which should increase profits, increase customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction, and then you stay in business. So the International Organization for Standardization, I don't think they use that acronym anymore, but it's ISO, was formed in 1946. They started their quality standards in 1987. They've been revised several times. The general version, ISO 9000-2000, there is a software and systems version that came out in 2011 that we'll talk about in the next unit. But it's recognized in over 100 different companies. ISO 9000-2000 was created to meet 5 objectives: achieve, maintain, and seek to continuously improve products, improve operations, provide confidence to management and others that improvement is being achieved, provide confidence to customers that quality is being achieved, and provide confidence that quality system requirements are fulfilled. As part of the standard, there's several different levels of documents. And there's only 3 listed here, 9000, 9001, 9004, but there's several more. It says recertification is required every 3 years. Individual sites must achieve it individually, not entire companies. So you have different divisions. Each division has to be certified. All costs borne by applicant. To apply for certification could cost the company hundreds of thousands of dollars, even more than $1 million. It's a very expensive process. So a lot of folks say, is it worth it? What is the value of being certified? What is the value of hanging that banner, across the top of my headquarters saying that I am ISO 9000 certified? Can you quantify that? And I guess when it comes to increase in sales, increase in profit, can be quantified. But it has to offset the cost of being certified, especially you have to get recertified every 3 years.
9000 standard is based on 7 quality management principles that senior management can apply to promote organizational improvement. The first principle is customer focus. And what that means is you want to understand the needs of your existing and future customers. You want to align your organizational objectives with customer needs and expectations. You want to meet your customers' requirements, measure their satisfaction, manage those relationships the best you can, and you always try to aim to exceed your customer expectations. The second principle is leadership, where you establish a vision and a direction for the organization. You set challenging goals. You want to model organizational values, establish trust, equip and empower your employees, And then finally, recognize your employee contributions. The third principle is engagement of people, where we ensure that people's abilities are used and valued. You make people accountable. You enable participation in continual improvement activities. You evaluate their individual performance. You enable learning and knowledge sharing. And you also enable open discussion of problems and constraints. The fourth principle is the process approach. And here's where we manage activities as processes. We measure the capabilities of those activities. We identify linkages between activities. We prioritize improvement opportunities, and we deploy resources effectively. The fifth principle is improvement. And that is where we improve organizational performance and capabilities. We align improvement activities. We empower our people to make improvements. We measure improvement consistently. And then we celebrate improvements. Got a common theme there that we're celebrating and rewarding and acknowledging, right? The sixth principle is evidence-based decision making. And this is where we ensure the accessibility of accurate and reliable data, use appropriate methods to analyze that data, make decisions based on analysis, and then we balance data analysis with our practical experience of what we've learned, of what we've known over time. And finally, the seventh principle is relationship management when it comes to our partners and our suppliers. So we're going to identify and select suppliers to manage cost, optimize resources, and create value. We establish relationships considering both the short-term and long-term perspective. We share expertise, resources, information, and plans with partners. We collaborate on improvement and development activities. And finally, we recognize supplier successes. Those are the 7 quality management principles when it comes to ISO 9000.
So the benefits of ISO 9000-2000 provides a set of good practices for companies to follow. Audits force indoctrination of the culture. So auditing is a big thing when it comes to ISO 9000. And it's also, when we talk about CMM, or the capability maturity model, audits force indoctrination into that culture as well. Doing it right can improve productivity, decrease costs, and increase satisfaction. And has led to improved market placement over time, which leads to better financial future. Again, increased competitiveness. And now we come to Six Sigma. Six Sigma got its start more on the manufacturing side, and now it's being translated in other areas such as HR, IT, sales. With some success, it can be a little bit difficult. But Six Sigma is a company rating itself for quality by building expertise in-house. Okay. So it was started as a business improvement approach, started at Motorola, eliminates causes and defects and errors, use statistical measures to reduce errors and bring processes under control. And work is done in cross-functional teams championed by a business leader. I think one of the misperceptions about Six Sigma is it's more about the process, and the process is called something else, which we'll learn in a later slide. But it's not necessarily the Six Sigma, or it's the process, which helps improve. And the primary process is demake. There's actually 2. One's used for creating something from scratch, and demake's used for improving an existing process. But it basically stands for define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And there we see the individual activities of each one of those phases, if you will. But it's a process improvement initiative or approach. So it's a way to fix a problem. It's a way to improve something. It's another way to do it, implementing quality. So what are the similarities between the three? Baldrige, ISO, Six Sigma. Well, they're all process-focused, or data-driven, or led by management. The differences are Baldrige is focused on performance excellence for the entire organization. ISO focuses on product and service conformity and fixing non-conformity. And Six Sigma focuses on measuring product quality and driving process improvement. ISO 9000 has been criticized for its focus on conformity. In other words, you could be ISO 9000 certified with a bad process as long as all departments are conforming to the bad process. And that's one of the criticisms has been of ISO 9000. So now we come to the end of Unit 5. So what did we learn? Well, we talked about the Baldrige Award, what it was, how to apply for it. We also talked about other awards that are presented in other countries when it comes to quality. We took a short dive into what ISO 9000 is all about in order to measure quality from an organizational perspective. And then we talked a little bit about Six Sigma and how it's used to measure quality from a process and product perspective. And that brings us to the end of Unit 5. Please proceed to Unit 6.